As a student at West Dean College some years ago, Dr. Roger Bown introduced me to psychology and art and semiotics. That's the controversial science of signs and symbols. This stirred in me a deep suspicion that maybe artist intention might not actually be all that it's cut out to be. When discussing this with other academics, the general feeling was that concepts such as making art from the heart are verging on fine art heresy. Many, including myself, with some uncertainty I might add, would argue that for fine art to be valid, it must be intentional and cannot be centred on the egotistical self or come from emotional meanderings. Most great art is very easy to view in a superficial manner, and one can still appreciate its wonder. However, the true beauty and greatness of fine art comes from a more considered engagement, perhaps spending even just a few minutes exploring the detail within it and thinking about where it might have come from. In recent months, I've been collaborating with the Pallant House Gallery as a volunteer on its Step Up programme in researching Victor Willing's painting Night with a particular context of artist intentionality. Superficially, the vast-sized canvas is beautifully painted and exists in its own right as a brilliantly executed piece of work, oil paint marks on a very interesting surface. But a more detailed engagement takes the art to a different level and to new dimensions. Situated in what appears to be a large cellar, Willing's yacht is caught up in a storm, with its mainsail loose and flapping in the wind. The surreal nature of the image is immediately apparent to us as the painting's audience, as the size of the yacht is disproportionate to the size of the entrance to the cellar, and through which can be seen light. The boat is listing only slightly to port, the left-hand side of the boat when facing forward. The angle of the listing perhaps is inviting the viewer to believe that the storm is not completely capsizing it, but the sail, orange tone flag, and what appears to be a fabric sunshade are flapping wildly in the wind. On the green-toned lemon yellow deck of the yacht is a dark blue foreboding entrance to its hidden lower recesses. On the port side, items of furniture are sinking into what appears to be a liquidized floor of the cellar. The whole scene is lit from an unidentified source from the top right of the painting, with shadows of the boat and other objects being inconsistently represented. There is much more to this painting than well-executed brushstrokes and tonal values. It appears to be true art with very deep meaning. But I ask myself just, where did it come from? Both Victor Willing and his mentor, friend and widow Paula Rago are reported as having been influenced by Carl Jung and his psychological interpretation of dreams and the unconscious self. In Jung's book Memories, Dreams, Reflections, Jung reminisces upon a dispute he had with Sigmund Freud about how dreams should be interpreted. Perhaps the most significant of Jung's dreams that were disputed with Freud including him descending stairs from the top floor of a house into a cellar. They took uncompromisingly opposing positions on the meaning of that dream. I wonder whether Willing consciously or unconsciously was referring to Jung's cellar in his painting, Night. Did Willing's narrative come from his conscious or unconscious self? Was his artist's intention determined or maybe even overruled by his unconscious self? We, of course, can never know, for therein lies the answer to all humanity. Until perhaps one day, when Jung's theory of collective unconscious might be proven to be fact. The research project that I am undertaking has some very clear objectives and deliverables. One of the most difficult issues to address has been how to establish boundaries. The exploration delves into and overlaps with aesthetics, semiotics, Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, and the philosophical search for the meaning of life. However, physical responses are more manageable. Mine include this video reminiscence, an audio report, an academic and aesthetic interest paper, and a series of intaglio prints. The prints refer to Pallant House Gallery, Victor Willing's Night, and Francis Bacon's Two Figures, and form part of my body of work, Introibo ad altare Dei, I go to the altar of God, taken from James Joyce's book, Ulysses, and the first words of the Catholic Old Latin Mass. Bacon and Willing were friends. My ongoing research is searching for connections to determine whether or not they might have creatively influenced each other, intentionally or via their unconscious selves. This research program has provided the incentive for me to commence my formal exploration of whether or not it might be possible for the unconscious self to overrule artist intention. I know I'll never be able to answer this question, but nevertheless intend to continue to research the theory and perhaps through my own visual artistic responses cause some new questions to be raised.